Good evening, folks. This is Diamond from the Oppenheimer Ranch Project on Friday, November 3rd at 9:20 p.m. Mountain Time 2017. A series of small earthquakes shake Missouri's boot heel is how we begin tonight's grand solar minimum update. You're going to see a stack of quakes here. Look at here. This is New Madrid, folks. And this happened all in one day. 2.7 followed by 2.1 and a 2.0. That was the main quake. Followed by 2.1. Followed by 2.0. And then these aftershocks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in one day. If we go 7 days all mag US, I'm going to take this off before we melt down the computer. There's 7 right there on that dot. 8, 9. 7, 8, 9. 10, 11. 11. Now there are 11. It's a heads up. There are now 11 quakes in the New Madrid in a week, plus 12, 13, 14, 15, if we include the Appalachians. 11 in the New Madrid, 15 with the Appalachians. There's a definite uptick in the New Madrid area, and we are watching it, and we are watching an uptick happen. We now have 11 quakes in the Appalachian area. We have 11 in the New Madrid, 15 in the Appalachian area, including the New Madrid. This is the most quakes I've ever seen since we started the channel here and since we started reporting. This is a very high number of quakes. Moving on. I'll leave you links to everything. Second earthquake in 2 days strikes Guam. Not a big deal, but an interesting article. Damrey to slam into southern Vietnam tonight. Strongest typhoon in 16 years. We'll be reporting on the flooding tomorrow. Typhoon Damrey is expected to slam into the southern Vietnam around UTC midnight November 4th, local time, with maximum sustained winds of 140 kilometers per hour. Likely the strongest typhoon to make landfall over southern Vietnam in 16 years, this tropical cyclone is expected to have a high humanitarian impact based on the storm's strength and the affected population in the past and forecasted path. Up to 2.4 million people can be affected by wind speeds of cyclone strength or above. This is going to be bad news. It's a heads up. Here she comes. Wheat crop down 14 million tons on last year. Sustained dry weather conditions have significantly cut Australian winter crop production, with the upcoming grain harvest now expected to come in 41% below 2016-17 and well below the 5-year average according to the last crop forecast. Let's jump to the U.S. I just saw this. The 2017 corn harvest is now officially more than halfway complete according to Monday's USDA crop progress report. That puts the harvest pace well beyond the 5-year average of 72%. The corn harvest finally passed the halfway point according to Monday's crop progress, 35% behind normal, so things are looking bad. Climate change will create world's biggest refugee crisis. Yes, it will. The grand solar minimum is going to be way worse than this article suggests. Tens of millions will be forced from their homes by climate change in the next decade. That's going to be hundreds of millions in the next decade. Easily. Canada's no bullshit governor. Look at her. She's full of shit. She just took a nab at us climate change deniers and astrologers. Speaking at a science conference in Ottawa on Thursday, Canada's newly appointed Governor General, Julie Payette, directed some harsh comments towards climate skeptics, astrologists, and believers of divine intervention. Critics complain that it's not the governor's general place to get involved in such matters, but Prime Minister Justin Trudeau defended the speech. Look at this fraud of a scientist. If she doesn't understand that astrology is the oldest form of science that humanity has, then this is a sad scientist. Oh. I'll leave you links to this article. And this pathetic woman, why did you elect her? Here's the snow forecast, guys, for North America through mid-December. There is a ton of snow. Look at it. It goes all the way down to Mexico here. Look at this right out here. That looks like Georgia and South Carolina snow. This is the total snowfall as predicted by the Euro model through mid-December. And we are going to be buried here. Buried. And this is the beginning of how it looks. This solar minimum, the sun is dead. I'll run down the forecast for North America for you guys. An Alberta Clipper storm will swing through the northern Rockies during the middle of the week. Then a strong storm will hit the west coast and the north central Rockies later in the week over the weekend. The next 7 to 14 days could go a long way towards getting resorts open. Short-term forecast, the first storm to consider will be the Alberta Clipper, which will hit interior British Columbia, Alberta, and Montana during the middle of the week. As the cold front moves south, snow levels will fall to valley floors. There will be some lulls in the intensity of the precipitation, but by midday Thursday, expect 4 to 8 inches with isolated higher amounts in the north and east facing slopes. Teton Pass and the Great Divide of Montana should benefit from being on the cold side of this front initially, whereas areas like Whitefish and Blacktail will struggle with warmer temps early and therefore receive less snow. If the cold front advances further south and stalls in the right spot, Red Lodge could receive heavy snow as well. It's a heads up. This is a polar vortex. The storm has the potential to lower snow levels to 1,000 to 2,000 feet in Washington, 3,000 in Oregon, 5,000 in the Sierras, and 3 to 4 in Idaho. That's all the way down to the valleys, guys, with precipitation lasting through Tuesday before winding down. This is the first storm affecting Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Montana, California, Wyoming, Utah, and Colorado. Right now, California and Idaho look the deepest, 1 to 2 feet possible. There's the low. Bad news, UK. One of our subs asked me that, how come I don't know if it's a sub. They were complaining that if global warming isn't true, how come it hasn't snowed in the UK? So what I'm going to supply you here is links to British winter snowfall total events. And you can see all the snow events. And in fact, it has been light, but back in 2010 and 2009, during the last solar minimum, where you got shit tons of snow, it's going to be twice as bad this year as that solar minimum. And subsequently worse every minimum going forward. So here's the article. UK set for coldest November for years. Heavy snowfall to fall in 2 weeks in Arctic mega freeze. Temperatures will nosedive during the second half of November as a displaced polar vortex spills freezing air across the country. Piers Corbin, forecaster for Weather Action, said the first half of November will be relatively mild with just the odd cold snap. However, it's all changed from mid-month with bitter Arctic winds threatening to send mercury plummeting to 20 C. Parts of the country are braced for lows of -10 or below by the start of December after weeks of double-digit, Mr. Corbin warned. He said the first half of the month is going to remain mild. It's during the second half it will get much colder, bringing the threat of snow. It's a heads up there in the UK. Article I'll leave you for, folks. It's all your fault. Humans to blame for global warming. Massive federal government report says. This is a whole ruse. This is the Empire model. It's your fault and you should pay. Now pay your carbon tax. Be safe.